This exercise is a depth drop with a pal-off press or a pal-off hold. So it's going to be a little bit of a landing mechanics exercise mixed in with a core stability exercise. So, the whole goal with this is to focus on absorbing the impact when you're landing while throwing an external force at you where your core needs to stabilize once you land. So you're going to have a band securely attached to some kind of surface, and then you're placing a weight on the band like so. So kind of going through that weight. So from there, let's break down the depth drop first. So you're going to be off of a step, a box, wherever you have. Maybe start a little lower initially just so you can kind of get used to the movement. But ultimately, all you're doing is just walking the plank. You're going to step off, land with both feet at the same time. You're not landing 1, 2. All right, so both legs are hitting the ground at the same time, and then you're absorbing that impact. So it's basically just a controlled squat where you're absorbing the impact versus landing stiff-legged. So there should be a little bit of a slight squat once you land. But now, with that band kind of pulling you towards the wall, you want to fight that resistance that's trying to pull you back. And then the weight that's on the band is going to kind of bounce up and down. So there's a little bit of an instability component with that weight as well. So with this one, I'm not as worried about landing perfectly shoulder width apart with your feet. You might land a little bit externally rotated or internally rotated. That's okay because that's going to happen in basketball or whatever sport you're playing where you're jumping. I think it's more so just focusing on that absorption or that eccentric control during the lowering portion of that squat. So, holding the band with both hands, arms are going to be straight out. If it's tough with this right out here, you can bring the hands a little closer to your belly button. But now all you're doing, same thing, step off, control that landing. All right, use that core and stabilize that movement right there, and then reset, step back up right into that next rep. Again, control, nice and soft with that landing. Maybe hold for a second or two at the bottom and stabilize that weight. And you're going to be doing that from both sides. So once you finish whatever the allotted amount of reps is on this side, doing the same thing from this side. And that is a depth drop with an anti-rotational component or that pal-off press.